The Google Maven AI is still scanning drone surveillance footage right now, and the Pentagon's own oversight board can't stop it. Somewhere in a classified data center, an algorithm built by Google engineers is still tagging humans, vehicles, and buildings in real-time military video. The Department of Defense's Inspector General reviewed this program. Google's own employees revolted against it. The company publicly walked away in 2019, and it's still running. Here's what it officially was. In 2017, the Pentagon launched something called the Algorithmic Warfare Cross-Functional Team. Insiders called it Project Maven. The pitch was simple. Drones capture more surveillance footage than any human analyst could ever review. Maven's job was to have an AI do it instead, flagging objects, tracking movement, cutting through hours of raw feed in seconds. Google won the contract. The company framed it internally as humanitarian work, reducing human error, reducing casualties. That was the official story. Thousands of Google employees didn't even know their infrastructure was involved until it leaked. Here's what was actually happening. Google was quietly building military-grade object recognition using its own TensorFlow architecture, the same open-source framework powering products on your phone right now. Engineers were training classifiers to identify targets in drone footage, refining accuracy on real combat data. No employee vote, no public disclosure. When a memo finally surfaced internally in 2018, more than 3,000 employees signed a letter demanding Google exit defense work entirely. A dozen resigned in protest. The backlash was real. But by then, the pipeline was already built, tested, and delivered. And here's the part nobody reported. The regulator already knew. Google's own AI ethics board, the Advanced Technology External Advisory Council, was assembled specifically to police projects like this. It dissolved within 1 week of forming, torn apart by internal conflict before it reviewed a single case. The people meant to provide oversight collapsed before they could exercise it. Google announced in March 2019 it wouldn't renew the Maven contract. Employees celebrated. Reporters called it a win. Nobody asked the only question that mattered: what happens to the code? The answer is the mechanism that makes this unstoppable. Google exiting a contract doesn't delete a model. The classifiers, the training pipelines, the object detection architecture, none of that disappears when a vendor walks away. The Pentagon simply moved Maven to a different contractor. In 2024, Anduril Industries formally took over the program. But Anduril didn't start from zero. The underlying computer vision techniques Google engineers pioneered, the exact TensorFlow-based approach, had already been proven, documented, and institutionalized inside the Pentagon's workflow. Google can legally say it's not involved in Maven today. That statement is technically true and functionally meaningless. The architecture survives. The techniques transferred. The former engineers who built it are bound by non-disclosure agreements that prevent them from ever detailing what, exactly, they handed over. Classification rules mean there's no public audit trail showing how much of the original Google-built system still runs inside Anduril's version. Nobody outside a small classified circle can say where Google's code ends and the next contractor's begins. That's not an oversight gap. That's the design. Here's why that should worry you specifically. The object recognition techniques refined under Maven, identifying a human being from a moving aerial camera, distinguishing a person from a shadow, a vehicle from a truck, are the same computer vision fundamentals now embedded across consumer products. Google's photo search, its Nest cameras, its pixel image processing all sit downstream of the same research lineage. The wall between military AI and the AI reading your face in your living room is thinner than either company admits. When Google says it doesn't build weapons, it's answering a much narrower question than the one that actually matters, which is whether the surveillance techniques it perfected under a defense contract quietly became the baseline for everything else it ships. And it's still running, inside a system now legally outside Google's name, reviewed by an oversight board that dissolved before it ever opened a file. So who actually benefits from a system this opaque? A company that gets to say it left, a contractor that gets to say it started fresh, and a regulator that never had to answer for either claim. And if the technology didn't die when the headlines said it did, what else did Google walk away from on paper only?